J-Tuck, I'm going to start with you here. Your Dallas Cowboys. Any surprises with the 53-man roster? And beyond that, anybody make the squad that we need to know about? Somebody that could be a factor for Dallas that might not be a household name?
Yeah, I don't think there was too many surprises. I mean, Cowboys Nation follows me. You should have been up to date and up to speed with everything. But, I think the one that really got a lot of Cowboys fans concerned was Trayshawn Holden. Trayshawn Holden was our undrafted rookie wide receiver at the University of Oregon. And he showed some upside at camp, also in preseason, but didn't get a lot of reps, never really moved up the depth chart. So he was released. So we'll have to sit back and see if he's claimed by waiver wires or not. I know a lot of Cowboys fans are kind of on edge about that. Deuce Vaughn, which is our cute and cuddly draft story a few years ago, he was finally released. His father was a scout for the Dallas Cowboys, but he was finally let go. And I felt like Deuce Vaughn, even though he had an incredible year and career at Kansas State, it just never really worked out at the NFL level. So I think Deuce being cut, we kind of saw it coming, but I think that was one that really kind of stood out was Trayshawn Holden and also Deuce Vaughn, but also Israel Mukuamu. He was released. He's been with the Cowboys for 4 years out of South Carolina. I mean, he has size, length, athleticism, but he never found a position. Is he going to be an outside corner? Is he going to be a safety? So the fact that he was released kind of scratched a few heads, but overall, no major surprises when it comes to the Cowboys. Now, I think the big surprise that I think is going to have impact is the guy who I really like coming out of the draft. I believe it was in 2022 out of the University of Oklahoma was Perrion Winfrey. Perrion Winfrey was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, had some off the field stuff, had to go to the UFL, and the Dallas Cowboys brought him in, but he had worked his way back on and he made the roster as a defensive tackle. And I've been trying to tell Cowboys fans this, if you compare and contrast him between Mozzie Smith, Perrion Winfrey is a much more upside potential than Mozzie Smith, right? I loved his film coming out of OU. So that was a guy kind of came from the UFL, got a second chance, and I made the roster. But also another guy, undrafted guy in Zion Childress, corner out of the University of Kentucky. And I was very high on this kid in the draft. He snuck his way on the roster, and to the possibility, depending on what happens with Trayvon Diggs' return, Zion Childress could be a possible starter week 1 versus the Eagles as our inside corner. So to work your way up from the undrafted ranks to possibly being a day 1 starter is an incredible story for Zion Childress. But he's scrappy, but I think it's a tall ask to ask him to go against, Smitty and AJ Brown out the gate. But Brian Schottenheimer just spoke about it and say, hey, if I picked you to be on this roster, it's because I believe on you. I'm just like, all right, well, that's a cool story, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. So overall, I'm okay with the final 53. And I think there's going to be a few guys who will probably bring back as veterans. We got Javonte Williams as our running back, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue, and then Phil Maffa. They did a sneaky IR shoulder injury out of the blue all of a sudden. So they can hold on to its rights. But overall, good roster management for the Dallas Cowboys with the final 53.